jersey did you bring?
What number is it? Who that is?
Patrick Mahomes.
No, what jersey did you bring? Who you been waiting to meet?
Patrick Mahomes.
Dak.
Why are you being silly?
I mean, that first Oh, I'm really a little bit confused.
All right, it's the One Star Cowboys podcast. I'm Kevin Turner. We have John Machado. We have Saad Youssef. There is no Kent Garrison today. He's turned his back on the audience, but he'll be back soon. Thoughts and prayers out to Kent. We do have his picks and his Post Malone.
Why did you say it like that?
Halftime set list. You know, he always makes stuff up about me, so I think we could have a little fun. Okay, so we're recording this, just to be clear, for whenever you listen to this, we're recording this on Tuesday evening. So a couple days away from Thanksgiving Day game. We got a short week. We gotta get rested up. Jerry went and did an interview on The Fan this morning, as he likes to often do. So there's a lot going on. Anything you would like to clean up from Sunday, John? And I know we had to pop on at the end of the podcast. What a wild game, a fun game. I've been, since I'm reflecting on it and thinking about stuff Saad and I had talked about too. Like, man, it's been a while since we've had a dance party in the end zone, and it was like a really, really, really awesome thing. And just like, honestly, for me to say that, I'm a Packers fan, and I can openly say that I'm sitting there like fist pumping when I was at home watching the Cowboys game. It was pretty awesome.
You know, it's funny. I still can feel a buzz from the way that all went down. I would have been surprised if the Cowboys won 24-21 and it was a back and forth game. So for them to give them 21 and then to have that comeback, that's easily their best win of the last 2 years, and might even be more than that. I mean, regular season wins, it's right up there with any that I've seen over the last 15 years. I don't ever put any regular season games above postseason wins, but regular season wins, man, that game was about as entertaining as it gets, surprising to me. And then also just what it meant by the team that you beat. And then the other part is, as we move forward into Thursday's game, I just think about is, I feel like if I'm a Chiefs fan or maybe even a Chiefs player, I'd be like, nah, I really don't like how they ended that game, because that really feels like, especially in a short week, you're not going to do very much in practice this week. Like, you could really roll that momentum into your very next game. You know, you're only playing 4 days later, same venue. You don't have to go anywhere. You're not going on the road. Like, you could carry some of that over into this Chiefs game. And obviously the Chiefs, we'll get into, aren't playing as great as we thought at the beginning of the year. So to get that first win, and we've said back in when the schedules came out to training camp until when the season started, we always knew that these 3 games in these 12 days were going to be a gauntlet, and to start it with that was really impressive. And then the other thing I need to mention, just because now that a couple of days have passed, is that I've been entertained by, and I don't know if you guys have, but like the melting down with like Eagles fans.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Like, everybody's getting thrown on their bus, like they're just awful, and that there's no chance that this is not a Super Bowl team anymore, and so it's entertaining to me, because while they laid an egg, no doubt, and that is a bad loss for them, like, that is still a really talented team that I still think is got as good a shot as anyone. Now, obviously, the Rams have moved ahead of them as in the NFC, and then really in the entire NFL as the Super Bowl favorite, and that's fine. But like, I look at the NFC as it's still being pretty wide open if you can get in the playoffs. Still a long shot for the Cowboys, but those are my main thoughts. And the other one is really, as much as I should talk about George Pickens and Dak and the offense and that, but like, where I sit right now, I'm not saying all the credit, but a lot of my credit is going to this Quinnen Williams move. Like, this does not happen without making that move. And it's not just him individually and the plays he's making, but the way he impacts the rest of the defense, and then how that carries over the offense, because they are not going to say it publicly, but the offense obviously went through the first half of the season knowing that, well, we have no margin for error because they're not going to get stops. No one's going to say that publicly, and they might not even say it amongst themselves, but there's definitely a feeling there. And since they added Quinnen Williams, obviously get Overshown back, make the move for Logan Wilson, those all matter. But Quinnen Williams is number one for me. Like, if this thing keeps going in this direction, that will be the move that I continue to look back on.
Yeah, for me, there was a couple of thoughts kind of related to what John was saying, but the first one, that, after I rewatched the game, I kind of didn't realize how difficult even getting up to 21-0 was for the Eagles. I mean, the first drive, they marched right down, they scored a touchdown. That's fine, 7-0. But that second one, it took a roughing the kicker penalty to bail them out, which wasn't really roughing the kicker, but it took them that to bail them out to go down and score a touchdown. And then on that third touchdown drive, this isn't luck, but I'm just saying they converted a 3rd and 12 with a really awesome catch by Devontae Smith. So one of the main criticisms we had of the Cowboys throughout the first half of the season was not that the defense was bad, but like offenses didn't even have to try. It felt like it was 5-6 yards a pop on the ground. It felt like it was just moving the ball through the air so easy. And even when the Eagles scored 14 of their 21 points, like I said, it didn't come easy for them. So I thought that was something that really caught my attention more so on the rewatch than when I was watching it live. And then just the second thing on the Quinnen Williams thing, I also think just the message that it kind of sends the whole team. I think, John, you talked about the effect of on the field, all that stuff, but I mean, you trade away your best player the week before the season. That's a demoralizing message for the whole team. And again, how much it's kind of like momentum or things like that, where it's like, how much stock can you really put in that? But it has to be an uplifting thing that they feel like, all right, like, this is a big move. And on that note, when Quinnen Williams went down, that to me was almost the worst case scenario for the entire season, where they were down big in that game. Quinnen Williams is on the turf, not getting up. And to me, that was the absolute worst case. And then, obviously he wasn't on the injury report on Monday and everything, but yeah, I think the Quinnen Williams thing is one thing, but the main thing for me was how it did not come easy. And I know the Eagles offense has struggled all year, but it didn't come easy for them even to go up 21-0.
One other thing I wanted to mention, watching the game over again, it was there was a lot going on during this moment, but think about how different we're talking though today, how big that Elijah Clark play is. They somehow don't get any points on that possession. And if that Jake Ferguson fumble stays in bounds, I mean, the Eagles are right there already in field goal range, and you blow that game, like, man, to fight all the way back and then and the reason I say is because you would just be handing it to them. They didn't do anything. I mean, I guess you could say they caused the fumble. Okay, so that would be, okay, you give them that. But, like, they would be set up on Dallas's, I think it was 34, 35-yard line, and all they would have to do is run out the clock and kick the field goal to win the game. And you're just like, man, and then honestly, that also speaks to, and this whole game speaks to, is just the greatness of the NFL and the parity of the NFL. That you can't really assume anything, and that's exactly where the NFL wants to be. And I really believe that all sports leagues would like to be that way, because there's just so many times that we've done this show this year where we're just talking about how it's like, all right, do we start talking about next season? This thing's kind of lost, and then something happens. You're just like, well, that door's kind of cracked still. Maybe we don't focus on the draft just yet. And so, just crazy game. I'm still, 48 hours, whatever it is since, still surprised at how that whole thing went down. And one of the most memorable games I've ever seen in AT&T Stadium. Yeah,
just one more thing, KT. I still think the Cowboys making the playoffs is a bit of a long shot, but when you look at what's happening in the AFC North, with the Ravens being 1-5 and the Steelers being 4-1, it just tells you that circumstances play a big role in how things play out over the long haul as well. So as I sit here today, I do feel the Cowboys making the playoffs is a long shot. But if somehow other teams in the playoff picture and the wild card start also melting down, or the Cowboys suddenly turn this into, hey, you beat a struggling Chiefs team, you beat a Lions team that, is good, but just went to overtime against the Giants and it's still figuring things out on the Laporta front, all that stuff. And then the Vikings look absolutely terrible. If all of a sudden you turn this gauntlet into a 4-0, 3-1 stretch and teams around you falter, the way the Steelers have to get the Ravens to the top of the division, it's not impossible. Still a long shot, not impossible though.
And that's why we turn it over to the athletic playoff predictor that you and John got together on over the offseason and crafted. No, it is really good.
I would love for them to come to us and say, hey, this is the idea we have. You guys figure out how to make this. My initial thought immediately would be, how much is this going to cost for me to pay somebody that knows what they're doing to handle this? That would be my very first. There was at no point would I think, yeah, you know what, I can do this. Yeah, let me figure this out.
Let's get Kent on this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So for the they're currently at 13% on the athletic playoff predictor, which, look, it's another reason to go subscribe to the athletic, and you can get all of John and Saad's work there, of course, but like, this is pretty great because you can just click the button and okay, so you beat the Chiefs 22%. Okay, let's say you beat the Lions. You successfully run the gauntlet. The athletic playoff predictor still has the Cowboys at 47%. So not even a 50% chance after sweeping the gauntlet. So a lot
I
of
would say the thing that they're not going to factor in on something like that is just like what that would do to a team's psyche to win those three. So for me, you tell me they win those three, I'm at probably 60%. I think they got a chance to make the playoffs.
I think it's also that thing that like the Vikings game and the Giants game, I mean, and the Commanders game do not look near as formidable.
That's true.
The Chargers are not playing like great football right now either. So, there's a lot of things, and that teams might sort that out within a month. But this is,
I don't know, man. There was some stuff that Jameis was doing on Sunday, some YOLO ball stuff that you'd really be like, can you imagine if that's what happens to keep you out of the playoffs? You do all of this to claw your way back. And they're just
beautiful,
chucking up wild passes to him, and he's breaking tackles. And you're just like, what is going on right now? What are we doing here?
I really liked Mike Kafka just emptying out the bucket, saying, hey, what other trick plays do we have? And I'll say the Jameis Winston touchdown catch, and then where he rumbles to the end zone, proving to be a yard after the catch threat. I will say it was a wonderful touchdown celebration. Very nice. Roll the dice. We've seen it before, but
it was well planned, almost like he thought he was going to be in the end zone multiple times.
I've said we can keep Jameis in the league. Okay, he can start.
For
like,
sure.
Hey, Minnesota, you wish you had Jameis this year? That JJ McCarthy thing's not working out real well.
But even in not starting, I think he can be a backup on a lot of teams. I
mean, Jacoby Brissett's a starter right now, so we'll see what's going on. Doesn't feel like they want to put.
I'm pretty sure, didn't Teddy Bridgewater get in a game this week?
Yeah, he did, and he is probably starting this week. But that's we'll cross that bridge when we get there. That Arizona game is the one we're going to look back. Well, because that one was at home. Panthers for sure, and the Bears not so much now because the Bears appear to be winning a lot of games, right? But like the Panthers, to me, yes, but that's on the road. Like the home game, Monday night. Well, that was a home game, right? Am I crazy?
You're talking about Arizona?
Arizona, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a home game, yeah. Like that's the one you're gonna go, ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, should have handled that one. So yeah, I don't know. Saad brought up something, John, on the podcast the other night.
Real quick, do you think that any team doesn't have one of those now? I'm thinking about it. You guys are no better than me.
That's fair.
I wonder if there is a team that is out there right now that doesn't. Like, who would it be for the Packers? They lose the Browns?
They lost to the Browns.
Yeah.
They lost to the Panthers, and they tied the Cowboys at the time.
Yeah. Lions lost to the Vikings.
Yeah.
JJ McCarthy looked like an MVP candidate.
I think the Bears don't have that yet.
The Rams might not have one. What's the Rams' worst loss? I feel like they've just been rolling all season. I could be wrong on this.
What?
Oh, you know who probably doesn't? New England.
Yeah.
I can't think of even
because they haven't played anyone.
Well, they beat the Bills. They beat the Bills, so that's
well. Hey, if you're going to say that, then I would say also the Bears might not have one.
Yeah, the Rams loss is Philadelphia, and then it's the 49ers in overtime, and they lost to the Eagles by 7. Dude, the Rams are
they're rolling
pretty good.
Wait, the Rams? You're talking about the Rams lost to the Eagles by 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember that was the block kick though. Like it sounds a lot. It was a lot closer than that. Remember that was the Jordan Davis return it for a touchdown.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So the Rams,
I will say, if you're a fan of any team that's in the playoffs, and your team can't get the number 1 seed, that's got to be pretty high on the list of who you root for, because you're going to go into their building. Weather won't be an issue, and you're probably going to have the advantage with fans. Like, who would the Rams have an advantage with fans over? Wouldn't be San Francisco. I don't think it would be Detroit or Philadelphia. Definitely wouldn't be the Dallas Cowboys. Like,
Yeah, it wouldn't be anyone.
I think of that as from a Lions perspective, where you're just like, Goff has trouble playing outside. Do you really want to have to go to Green Bay and then Philadelphia? Yeah. Like in January, that's probably not great. But like, you're like, oh, and then you get to go to SoFi.
The Bears were Vikings and Lions, and then they got run by 2 scores to the Tyler Huntley-led Ravens.
Oh, okay.
Which sounds crazy, doesn't it?
It does.
I forgot that Tyler Huntley got a game this year in with the Ravens.
Sorry, I cut you off there.
No,
we're talking about
this kind of takes you. I'll get to what I was going to say later, because this does take me to where I was going to get to eventually at some point, anyways. And it's like this whole thing of like, it is the Chiefs this week, so we can start looking at the schedule and creating gauntlets if we want and all that stuff. Dude, the Chiefs are not world beaters at all. They are not currently in the playoffs, which, could be a bad thing. But this game feels, 50% more winnable than it did before the season started, and then maybe 25% more winnable after the Quinn Williams trade. So, like, we'll get to our picks and all that stuff later, but this is like one of those games you circle at the beginning of the year. Like, this will be the most highly rated game of the season and blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting here going, I can't believe I think this is going to be like a really tight, fun game. So,
well, I would also say this. If we were sitting here playing some type of game where every penny that you're going to make for the rest of your life is on the line here, and we're drafting teams to who could win the Super Bowl, how many picks down are we getting before you pick the Chiefs? They're not outside the top 5.
Not as far as when you get to the Cowboys.
I can just tell you this right now. I just brought up FanDuel. They're third highest odds to win the Super Bowl, behind the Rams and the Eagles right now. That's because everybody is scared of Mahomes if he gets into the playoffs.
Yeah.
I think it's fair. I think that's a fair thing to be scared of Mahomes in the playoffs, because we've kind of seen this story already before. What was it, 2 years ago? They looked absolutely awful all the way through late December. So it's not some boogie monster thing that you're projecting. We've kind of seen this story already. So and the other thing is, like, the Chiefs are not playing well and they're in a bad way, but some of their losses came when Rashee Rice was out, Xavier Worthy was out early in the season. Like, I don't know. I don't think they're as bad of a team as their record shows.
Hey, you know who that team is in the NFC for me? Especially today. To me, it's interesting to say this. It's the Eagles.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's down on them because they blew that lead and everything like that. You're going to be really that surprised they get in the playoffs and they start playing well again. And I only say that about teams like that have had playoff success. It's kind of like when you look at the standings, you're like, oh, here come the Niners. Like, there's a lot of pieces there that have been January tested. Now, they haven't won a Super Bowl, but they've gotten damn close, and they've played in a lot of big games in January. And so that's the one thing about why, to me, this whole 3 games in 12 days for the Cowboys was going to be, Eagles, Chiefs, and Lions. That's it'd be tough to beat that. Especially if you go back to when the schedule was set and you factor in what those teams were then. And even now, like, that's not, even after the Lions losing, or not losing, but yeah, well, they lost to the Eagles and then barely beat the Giants. They're still top 7 or 8 odds to win the Super Bowl, so.
It's also a thing with the Chiefs, though. It's like, it's a down year for the Bills right now, too.
Yeah.
Even though there's, their record will still, sit there and tell you they're 7-4, but you watch the Bills too, and you're like, all right, it's not all clicking, and a part of it, I think, is a little weak at the wide receiver position.
But don't you think that's why Kansas City also is probably pretty high in the Vegas side? Because it's like,
100%.
all right, so you know the Joe Burrows and the Josh Allens might not be, and Lamar Jackson, what they have to get through, they're going to have to get through the Colts, the Patriots, the Broncos. Like, while those are all been better teams this season, we're talking January game right now. You're sitting down ready to watch this game. Like, you're not thinking that the Chiefs have a chance to beat any of those teams, because I'm feeling pretty confident they do.
I mean, AFC Championship game in let's see here,
Foxborough,
in Foxborough, Indianapolis. Let's throw Buffalo in there,
right? Throw Denver
or Denver, or Denver, and every one of those games I'm picking the Chiefs.
I mean, depending on their injuries, yeah.
But yeah, if Chris Jones goes down, they're
right
trouble, you know.
Yeah.
But even watching them, you know, I had eyes on it the other day with the Colts. Like, it's 20-9. They're showing no offense. They're having like little fun touchdowns are getting called back to just like a legal formation. Just dumb stuff going down. 20-9, fourth quarter.
Team owner's literally almost on the field. She's just hanging out with her headset
on the field. She's calling plays.
I'm gonna tell you this right now. Just like I feel about the way people talked about Micah Parsons on the podcast stuff when the Cowboys weren't doing well. I know that's creeping in with these drops with Amon-Ra St. Brown in Detroit. I don't know how diehard the Indianapolis Colts fan base is, but if that thing starts going south, man, like that would be the perfect example of something in Philadelphia that would just dominate the radio talk. If it's going well, everyone's happy about it. And honestly, let me be clear here too. This has nothing to do with it being a female at all. Not for me. I'm talking any team owner. Like, if that's Stephen Jones out there, if that's Mark Davis out there on the, like, that far, like, I mean, the plays are going on. You're standing right next to Schottenheimer. Like, Stephen Jones is standing there. You're telling me that if they're not playing well, that isn't the number one story in sports?
It was always a small little thing here in the late 90s when the Cowboys kind of hit their little dip there, and Jerry would come down onto the field. It was such a sports talk story. Man.
I'll never forget when I moved down here. It was a preseason game, and he came down to tell Jason to take out Romo. And I will always remember that, because I have binoculars, and I'm just like, I've never even seen something like this in a game I've covered. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's Jerry down there.
It's crazy. It's so crazy. Oh my gosh.
Steven with a headset on standing next to Schottenheimer. Can you just imagine that?
Saad brought up something the other night though that is fascinating to me, and I think we are in a position for that trend to continue, partially because of who they're playing. But he was talking about how you look at the Eagles. You know, obviously the Raiders didn't try to run the ball. The Eagles with 10 carries to Saquon Barkley. I mean, they'd throw it to him quite a bit, but
it screams that these teams are like, well, we're just not going to run at them.
Yeah,
they're going to put those. Yeah,
here's the guys. And then I think it's the back part of the defense that we can kind of go after. And maybe we get a lead. You know, it's like a 21-0 lead. And then we can start, you know, like.
Not to look too far ahead, but.
Well, that continues. That's crazy.
That's the map to beating the Lions. If you do that, you're taking Gibbs out of it. He's like the only thing that's really going for them right now. And so if you take him completely out of the game, yeah, the Cowboys absolutely have a great chance to win that game.
Well, but that will also be the biggest test of the theory, because the Lions, I would be shocked beyond my mind if they didn't try to run the ball, because the Raiders and Eagles basically gave up and didn't even try. And the Chiefs, that's not really part of their game, whether Pacheco, Hunt, like whatever, they'll run the ball. But the Lions, if they don't try, that would be just shocking.
Yeah,
that's not going to happen. So that's going to be a real test of, you got Gibbs and Montgomery, and they're going to try to run the ball down, and that's only 2 weeks away. So we'll see in short order if that's a real trend.
Yeah, no, I think I'm glad you said that, because it almost like our little science experiment here. We almost have to wait another week just because the Chiefs are like.
By the way, the week after the Lions, you'll have I know he's old, but you'll have your Cowboy killer, Aaron Jones. So
Aaron Jones. Yeah. Boy, that Vikings offense is something to watch right now, though. That is, man, That is not good. I mean, that is just slow. I mean, he is a guy freezing up. It's kind of crazy. But, he still hasn't played a lot of games. Maybe string it together. We've given up on quarterbacks in the past, and they've gone on to do really well. Baker,
It is such a, I
Sam
mean,
Darnold.
no, but it is one of those things where unless you have like one of those top 4 or 5 guys, I mean, there's certainly levels to it beyond, but there's such a group of about 10, 12 guys that are come right after that where you're like, man, I don't know if you put the right pieces around that guy, I could see that team winning,
Yeah, and KT, to your point, the only reason I'm way more down on McCarthy than the other guys, even with having those examples in front of you, is Baker was in Cleveland, Sam Darnold was with the Jets. This is Kevin O'Connell who got Sam Darnold a great contract in Seattle, and so that's why I'm a little down on McCarthy more than the other guys.
Yeah, and I think like whatever you're still a top 10 pick. So it doesn't change anything. That does matter, and that will play into it a little bit as well. He hadn't bounced around, like when Darnold got there and he made that work. But like the weight of the baggage you have with you is a lot more. Like no one cares if Trey Lance is in a game or not if he was drafted in the 5th round. But top 5 pick, and we were talking about that. But I think also something that's like interesting to me, or something I've thought about a lot, and this is my I guess big concern on Thursday, is like the sheer numbers that the Chiefs can throw out in terms of like capable wide receivers. Now they don't have the George Pickens or the CeeDee Lambs, but Rashee Rice is obviously turned into a really good player. Like getting Xavier Worthy back and getting Hollywood Brown in the mix, and he gets about a target a game, and they still haven't figured out how to use everyone correctly and together and all that stuff. But that's one thing that just makes me worry about the secondary, because we can jump ahead and be really happy about what's happening up front. I still think there's a lot of things to worry about in the back end of the defense, and that's where the concern comes for Thursday, I guess.
No doubt. And I think a big piece of that too is the pass rush. It's easy to look past this because the Cowboys won and they played well, but there was not enough pass rush on Jalen Hurts throughout that game. And you can't have a repeat of that against Patrick Mahomes. But if you have a little bit more pass rush, I still think there's going to be big plays made in the passing game by the Chiefs. It's going to happen. I mean, this Cowboys defense is vastly improved since the addition of Quinnen Williams and getting Overshown back, but it is not one of those things where, oh, well, they're just going to shut down teams. So they're going to give up big plays, but how many and when are they, and how much can you limit them? And I don't see the Cowboys doing that without a better pass rush than we saw Sunday. But I do think that it can be better. They just have to do it in a variety of ways. Maybe it's a better game from J.W. and Clowney or Donovan Ezeraku. Donovan Ezeraku, by the way, for somebody like myself that I don't bet on sports, I always am looking at the odds and stuff. He's moved up to 4th for Defensive Rookie of the Year in the NFL. Now, he's not going to win it, but it's interesting that you can see people are taking notice of him around the league. And maybe this is a game where, he has a big play here or there. I think that the way that the game ended, to me, there were so many big plays in the game Sunday, but I would think Osa's sack to me is the biggest defensive play, especially in the moment when it happened, how badly something like that was needed. Maybe that helps propel him. He certainly seemed very confident after the game, talking maybe he's someone that steps up. But I just think going forward that if you're an opposing offense, your line one has to be do whatever to not let Quinnen Williams wreck this thing. And then we'll deal with the other stuff. And that's where Osa and Kenny Clark and Solomon Thomas have to step up.
No doubt. The other thing I would say, we're talking just a minute ago about Jalen Hurts. I mean, he froze up a little bit in the second half, and I don't know if I've seen an offense. I've seen time and time, you'll see a team just can't move the ball for a half, whatever. But Saad made a good point too. They had to work hard to get to that 21-0 lead, but these are in debates that happen forever on sports talk radio. I mean, I remember we were doing Dak versus Carson Wentz. Okay. But I'm sitting there going, man, you see the quarterbacks in these games, and Jalen Hurts has a ton of winning he's done, but you watch how the Cowboys do it with a lot of Dak throwing the ball down the field, and Jalen Hurts does not do that a ton. It just makes you go, God, yes, I'd rather have this guy. And the only thing you go, so, well, the other guy also plays every game, and you have the tush push, and do more stuff with his legs. But I just feel like I don't know. I don't want to get too hot takey, but I'm just like it's very obvious who the better quarterback is when you watch them play, and then you pull up the resume and you go, well, yeah,
Yeah,
rings
I
are
also-
rings, I guess.
it also kind of speaks to how big momentum is in sports because Jalen's hitting AJ Brown and they're scoring touchdowns, and that had been the thing that had been missing in their offense. And now all of a sudden they're up 21-0. Like 21-0 for Texas Tech is different. You know what I'm saying? Or
Yeah,
in college football, I'm saying in general.
for sure.
But in the pros, you go up 21-0, you're a good team like the Eagles, you're feeling pretty good about yourself, especially because the piece that has been struggling, all of a sudden you're like, oh, wow, that's feeling good. And then all of a sudden that stops. And then now all of a sudden it looked like they were pressing because, as we had talked about before, you look at their previous games, whether it be against the Lions, whether it be against the Packers, like they're these kind of close games, they're ugly or whatever. But when Eagles needed a score, they were able to do that. And they were given, they say 8, but I'm going to say 7 possessions to try and do that. And they never could. That's the only reason why I'm saying that. Then they would have won the game because Ferguson fumbles, you're set up on the 34. Because I certainly don't feel like if they needed a touchdown, even set up on the 34 with how that offense was playing, I'm like, there's no guarantee that the Eagles go down and score a touchdown there. So, but I don't want to just make it sound like it's just all the Eagles in their own heads. And because certainly the Cowboys defense played a huge role in that. And also, by the way, I told Saad this during the game. There were some moments there. That's the most fired up I've ever seen Matt Eberflus. Like normally Matt Eberflus, there's a little bit of like I almost feel like a good cop, bad cop with him and Brian Schottenheimer, where like Brian Schottenheimer is everyone's guy. And Eberflus is kind of the, maybe more like Tom Landry, Jimmy Johnson, where it's like, he's going to be a little bit more like all locked in. There's not really much, are they enjoying this right now? But man, he was showing it in that game. You could tell like that was that more than almost anything showed me how big that game was to that defense.
Yeah, no doubt. Before we get to picks, let's can I ask this question? Do we have a CD Lamb problem? Are we good?
Yeah, you think you should start shopping him?
No, not at all. 100% don't think that, but
I'll be the first to admit that I was wrong on not thinking that George Pickens was a number 1 on this team. I think a factor though in all of this is probably the Bears game and CD getting hurt. I wonder how that game goes if CD doesn't get hurt, especially with how early it was. And then just him missing those 3 games, it really allowed Dak and George to get on the same page, take their games to another level. And George has just continued to build off of that, and I do think CD's pressing a little bit. And I don't know if that's because of just the drops or because he's not looking like the number 1 guy right now, whether he feels that way or not. I don't know. He didn't talk after the game. So there's no doubt he's dropping too many passes that a CD Lamb catches 99% of the time for me to not think that he's not in his head a little bit. And then also just like some of the stuff they show you of him on the sideline, the frustration is clear there. And then just like after the game, like he was one of the first guys into the locker room and out of the locker room. And that's just the type of game where you're like, regardless of how you play, you think that you would want to be in that locker room that entire time, like that's just such a great win. You can put it in the conversation of best Cowboys regular season wins of the last 15 years.
Oh, 100%.
Like I immediately think of at Seattle, in 14. I think of at Pittsburgh in 16, at Green Bay in 16. Like there's a few others, heck, the last time that they erased a 21-point deficit was against the Rams in 2014. It was early though. This is like week 3 or 4 or something like that. That's the last time. So to erase a 21-point lead, I don't care if that's against the worst team in the league. To do it against the Eagles is so impressive that, I don't think anybody could argue that he's not pressing a little bit to try and make plays.
Yeah, the other tell for me about CD, it's not that he never does this, but when he had that drop whatever in the end zone late in the game, when he gets up and starts just like talking about, hey, put it over there, like while he's walking back to Dak, he's not a player that normally does that all the time. Like he'll every now and then do like this, like tap his own chest or something. but he's not talking to Dak 20 yards away saying, "Hey, put it over there, like corner of the end zone." Like he doesn't do that often. So that's another thing that tells me he is a little in his head.
But even on that, like Dak did not throw a great ball, but he definitely threw a ball good enough that should have been a touchdown. Same thing. Saad and I were talking during the game about the one near the goal line against Vegas. That's a catch CD makes a million times. Out of a million and one.
Yeah, and we're going off of the standard that he has set. For himself. I'm not just like, oh, you're a wide receiver one, you got to go catch this. Like, no, you usually catch that. So, just to have that, you think back too, though, like, couldn't help but see like the full circle nature of it all and think about week one. And you make those plays and like, dude.
So then if it goes back to week one, then there's only one thing. And that's, you got to blame the NFL because they're not allowing him to do that wipe your nose celebration anymore.
Let me just say this.
Is anybody talking about that?
No one's not talking about it enough. But I want to say this, and I don't even want to go deep into this, guys, because I'm not taking up for the guy. But I do think that's pretty wild double standard that we've set here quite a bit with not us, but the ownership of this team, because if you're going to pay our top dollar guys, they got to be real leaders. Well, our leaders usually aren't getting suspended for the first series of a game, and our leaders aren't usually dropping key passes in games. Not like that happens. Drops happen, whatever. But like, something you said there a minute ago just sticks out to me that, he was one of the first guys out of there, and, you can see it on his body language. We saw this before. You can go back to the 2023 playoff game, the body language on the first drive of the game. Meanwhile, if you're Trayvon Diggs, we got to run you over and all that stuff. So I'm saying, again,
I think the highs are too high to compare it to Diggs and stuff like that. It's just like the instances,
the recent highs.
Yeah, none of this is new for me because there would be these questions with Dez Bryant, but when he's producing the way he is on the field, you deal with it and you're just like, yeah, okay, so he did this or he did this, whatever. Look at all these other plays that he makes that are the difference between you guys winning and losing this game. And so that's always been the thing for me in sports. If you're putting up on the field, and I'm saying again, let me make that clear for me. You guys can think however you want. Whoever's listening can think how that, but for me, there is definitely a ratio of stuff I will put up with when you're balling on the field, and that certainly lines up with the way the NFL is. So while I say it's my own opinion, it's very clear that that's how Jimmy Johnson led things. And, it's kind of what's going on right now. I'll go back to this. It's a small one and maybe it's not a big deal to anybody else. And I shouldn't say it's a big deal because it's not, but little things like this. That day that Jaden Blue wore like whatever cleats, and so he had blisters, so he had to change his cleats, and like Schottenheimer's offering that up. I'm like, he would never do that. Dak wears new cleats every time I see him. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's never been a time where he didn't have to like change him or something like that. He's come on, 4, let's go. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's the same thing with like CD and Pickens. You think CD and Pickens were sitting there or they're out and they're just like, man, Shotty's just gonna destroy us tomorrow or whatever like that. Like, I mean, there's different ways when you're star players at this professional level, and certainly how much you're paid factors in with that as well. And it's just, it is not the same as, how everybody wants to be treated equally on the, your high school basketball team or something like that. But it's not like that. Like the playmakers, they do have more leeway when it comes to stuff like that. Also, by the way, if you look at the last 5 games, the stats really aren't that different between CD and George. Like, George's got 100 more receiving yards. They both have 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but George, throughout the whole body of work, these first 11 games, like you look at his stats, first 11 games, every single season, they've been going up, and certainly this year. I mean, heck, other than Jackson Smith and Jigba, there's not a better receiver in the NFL right now. Now, I kind of feel like quarterback play in Minnesota probably impacts that. Quarterback play maybe in Cincinnati impacts that. But
for sure,
you know what I'm saying? Like he's playing at a crazy level right now. Clearly the best he's ever played.
Nah, no doubt. Let's do picks. Get right to it here. Kent out today, but Kent has laid down his picks, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and call those out for you. We're going to do KC and Dallas. Dallas, the 3-point underdog, and he is taking Dallas +3. We're going to do Green Bay, Detroit. Detroit 2.5-point favorites with the Jack White halftime show on Thursday.
That's a big one.
He's taking Green Bay plus 2.5. And then we have Black Friday game, Bears and Eagles. And it is the Eagles at home, and the Eagles are 7-point favorites, and he is taking the Bears plus 7. So there's your Kent. His Post Malone halftime set list prediction. He thinks it's going to be Sunflower. I had some help. Circles better now, and congratulations. So I'll keep that, and we'll track it and see how Kent did. Kent, who has done the Thanksgiving halftime show with Forever the Sickest Kids. John, we're hot on your heels now, John. Not that you had a bad week. You went 1 and 2, but Saad went and did some good work. So you were still in.
Did he? I'm sorry. Did he have WoW on there?
He did not have WoW on there.
The song that says Hail Mary Prescott, like he didn't have that in there?
Yeah, that one's probably going to have.
I don't know if you guys have heard that, like I can't remember what casino it is right now, that they're doing the ads for the Cowboys and they have to like take out the Prescott part.
Windstar.
Is it Windstar? Yeah, like it sounds like it's just, I don't know if they might take out the Hail Mary part too, but it just sounds very like they're trying too hard to try and just keep that out of there. But there's no way he doesn't do WoW. Anyway, all right, what game we starting with? Start.
Cowboys plus 3.
I picked the Eagles last week. Give me the Chiefs. Why go against this? Maybe it works for them. You know, I tweeted during the game that it's over after it was 21-0, and I kind of sparked this comeback. So let's keep this rolling. Let's see if they can keep proving me wrong.
Saad?
What's the spread again on this? Three? Man. No, man. Give me the Chiefs.
Can't win with Dallas plus 3. I mean, I'm in last place, so I should probably, but I'll go with what I really think or what I'm really feeling. And the Chiefs are way out of whack right now. Dallas plus 3. Let's go. Let's have some fun. Dallas plus 3. Let's go to the morning game on Thanksgiving. We have Packers at the Lions. Detroit, 2.5-point favorites. Saad, we'll let you start here.
Man, this is tough. Give me the Packers. I think that defense is legit, and I don't know. The Lions, it was all through Gibbs against the Giants, man. And what John said earlier in the pod, like if you find a way to just get Gibbs, I'm curious to see if Amon-Ra St. Brown and all that can keep it going. However, I would love to hear John's thoughts on the Jameson Williams emergence, because that's interesting.
Yeah, John, weigh in on that in a second. I'm going to get mine out of the way and just say quickly, the Packers' strategy against the Vikings was to run the ball and to get out of there as fast as possible. The Packers and Vikings game ended at 2:40 p.m. on Sunday. Despite the crowd being very frustrated with Matt LaFleur continuing to call 3rd and 3 run plays and settle for field goals, but he knew J.J. McCarthy could not move the ball. So he was like, let's get out of here. Meanwhile, the Lions and Giants game ended about 3:30. So about 50 minutes later at an overtime. And if you're someone who thinks that matters, well, you're a fool. I'm taking Detroit minus 2.5.
Okay. Well, I will first start off by saying Post Malone not playing WoW would be like Jack White not doing Seven Nation Army. You have what is arguably the greatest sports anthem, and if he didn't play that then, honestly, piss me off.
Nah, he's going to.
It would piss me off.
He's going to. I think 10 years ago, I think he wouldn't have, but I think now he's like.
Didn't he play that in that? It wasn't his very last song in that 50-year anniversary SNL thing, or did he play something else last?
No, he played. I don't know if he played it last, but he played Seven Nation Army for sure.
Yeah, you know, guy. I'm not taking the Lions. Packers. It is tough though. I mean, I'm being serious. Like, just the way that the Lions have played the last 2 weeks, like. This is probably the most, and I shouldn't, they're not down on Dan Campbell, but this is the most Dan Campbell's been questioned in Detroit over the last few years, just because of now that he's the offensive play caller. While that looks good against Washington, because obviously they're not the team that we thought they were going to be. Man, these last couple of weeks, it just has not looked great. And then seeing the way that the Cowboys were able to score on the Eagles, I just have some questions there. And I do think that the Packers will be able to take away the run game. So then who emerges? And not having Laporta, I think that's a big blow to that offense. Now, Jameson Williams could show up and have a big game. He also could have 4 crucial penalties. That's just kind of, you take what you get there. So I keep going back to that. The Lions' offensive line is not what it was in previous years, and it's banged up. So, yeah, give me the Packers.
All right, and I'm going to go with Eagles, Bears. Bears +7. That's too many points for me. Sorry. And I don't really know that I love the Bears yet, but Bears +7. Simple. Let's go to you, John.
Yeah, Eagles. There's no way the Eagles are going to lose back-to-back games. And so I think they win, and they win convincingly.
Oh, is this sarcasm or is he?
I would never, ever be sarcastic.
Is he really saying this? Saad, what's your read on his pick there?
No, it's sarcasm. Come on.
Okay, so it's Bears +7.
I will also say, though, KT, I'm sure you've looked at it. Saad, you probably have too, but have you seen this schedule that is ahead for the Bears?
Yeah.
It's not easy. Let's put it that way.
Well,
We're
it's
gonna find
damn
out.
time. They have, it's their first win of a team over 500. And the Steelers with Mason Rudolph. I'm sorry. I think the Bears are on the right path, but I'm just not there yet with them.
For sure. I think them getting a coach that a lot of people know because of the offense and what he did in Detroit. So I think there's a little bit of that as well. But yeah, no, give me the Eagles.
Saad?
Give me the Bears. I think that they've shown a tendency to stick around, and even when they win close. So yeah, give me the Bears.
You went Philly, John?
Yeah.
Okay.
Watch when they win by 17.
Well, no, you're first place in picks. Now you're making me want to change my pick. Not going to, though. Not going to. Conviction. We'll talk to everyone on, I don't know. Not sure yet. Kent's in charge. We should just, full disclaimer. So I don't know if we'll do something after the game. We probably will. But we'll have to text and discuss all that, and we'll figure that out. So, yeah, we'll be around either way. I know the drill. On the One Star Cowboys podcast, follow John and Saad over at The Athletic. Follow Kent's movie podcast, Mad About Movies, which hopefully he'll have John on as a guest soon to talk about some of the movies he hasn't enjoyed that a lot of people did. I'm Kevin Turner, and we will talk to you next time on the One Star Cowboys podcast. Goodbye.
Patrick Mahomes.